Hello, true art believers, and welcome to today's live art stream. This is Pierson here. I am the #1 live art streamer in the world, and we have today another piping hot cactus drawing for you, and it is day 186 of 200 days of drawing. So we're going to begin today, and hopefully you enjoy the drawing process and to hear what I had to say about just things, really. All right, let's begin. And welcome, true art believers, and I hope you're having a wonderful day today. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to hit the little time lapse button right here. We'll get the little time lapse button, and I'm going to eventually try to gather some steam, I guess, on the conversation that I want to, the little topic I want to kind of talk about for the day, and eventually we'll get there. We'll see. All right, so we're on day 186 out of 200 days of drawing, and you know, it takes a bit of like just not necessarily hard work, but just being overall consistent from your day to day. And what I'm trying to what this topic or today's like discussion will be, it's going to be me kind of going through like an idea and trying to come up to some sort of like conclusion, and hopefully I'll come up with something because I don't have like a script or a prompt. Well, actually, I do have a prompt. The prompt is you don't have to be great, but you just have to be consistent. And hopefully when I navigate, hopefully through like 30 minutes of talking about it, I'm going to come to some sort of like concept that will be universal for everyone. And that's typically how these live streams kind of work, is I kind of talk about something and I hope that they kind of the ideas resonate to some degree for everyone. And sometimes they're hit or miss. Sometimes they're a sweeping success, and mostly I'm hitting about I have like a 50% batting average. I don't have like this very, it's not like this special like moment. It's just like I'm usually doing a solid 50% home run or 50% hitting average or batting average. I don't really know baseball lingual. Is it lingual or lingo? I think I try to mix lingual as in like bilingual with lingo. So the premise of today's live stream is kind of talk about being consistent and not worrying about outside external forces, aka in this case, we might compare ourselves to other individuals who are better at their craft than you are, and you want to separate yourself from that. And then hopefully I'll come to some decent analogy or something that is, there we go. Look at that. I've learned a few things. Something that is beneficial or universal for everyone. With this live stream that I've been doing, it's been very trial and error. There has been days that have been very successful, and then days that have been like, I just like the batting average of batting 50%. My drawings have been, they've been like, I've been running 50% with those as well. Like days that have been better. Some days are not so good. I've been able to move quickly with some drawings, and sometimes when I'm doing the drawings, they're not coming out organically or as quickly as I'd like them to, and that is fine. You got to learn what you learn doing these. What I've learned doing these live streams is you're never going to be operating at like 100%. And for me, there's days that I'm barely operating at like 25%, And it's not for lack of trying, it's just life can and will be difficult. And I feel like life does that on purpose. Like, if everything was easy, you know, I'm trying to find the center here. There we go. Oh, if everything was easy, you'd have everyone just knocking the world down, or knocking it out of the park, or just you just have a bunch of millionaires and billionaires, if everything was just easy. And unfortunately, everything isn't easy. Now, some of us are born with a genetic predisposition for like just being better at things, but you can outwork talent. There's a lot of talented people there in the world, but a lot of them are probably lazy, and you can outwork them. At the very least, you can be more consistent than them. You don't have to be as good as them, because there's always a trade-off. So like, the better you get, sometimes what happens is the better you get, the slower you get, because you have to do you're improving at such a rate that the things that you're doing take more time, you know but if you get good and consistent at certain crafts, you might become faster than the person who's better. And it's not always the person who's better that gets ahead, or gets the job, or gets the gig, or whatever it is. It might be the person who's faster, or who is maybe more congenial, or more honest, or more just nice. I don't know. There's a lot of factors that lead to people having more success than others. I don't know. It's not like there's a cookie cutter explanation of why certain things are certain people are able to achieve certain things quicker than others, or and so forth. But what I'm trying to say with these live streams is, you don't want to be bogged down by external forces. I mean, Instagram and all these social media can really kind of bum you out. They can bum you out, because you see these high performance artists, or see these high performance people doing incredible feats. Like, they might be like, let's see, what would they be doing? I don't know. They're just doing something at a level that you wish you could be doing at the same level that they're doing it. Um, but you know what? You don't want to compare yourself to those people. I kind of lost my train of thought there for a second. I remember when I was in, like, when you're in school. School's a good measure of that, where you're like comparing yourself. If you're in an art class, and you're in a classroom where there's a person that's really, really good at drawing, or really good at the art that you want to do, and um, you're like, I want to be like that person. Um, but the thing is, you can get frustrated because you're using an external measure as a gauge for why, as a gauging point for your ability. And that's good to kind of set like a marker, but you don't want to use that as the end all to your growth as an artist, or a growth as a person who's seeking to improve in a certain craft. you know and that's where being consistent is probably more beneficial than being great at that said thing. And it is what it is. I i don't know, it is what it is, but like, it's just a good thing to have. And it can be frustrating at times to try to be overall consistent, because being consistent is not just, being consistent at at uh at the thing that you're doing. It's also being consistent at other things that you're doing. Like, in order to be consistent at something like this that I'm doing right now, I have to be consistent at everything. So like, my lunch schedule, the time I get up, when I do certain things throughout the day. Because if I'm not consistent on that stuff, it gets very hard to do these type of things. It just gets very difficult to do the thing that I'm doing. So you got to be consistent throughout the day and throughout your day. And you got to be just you got to be very ultra focused, you know, and just focused on it. Be very focused on it. Focused. I'm like focal point. But anyways, I think this is. I'm gonna do like a. There we go. Do something like that, and maybe a purple right here. We'll do. There we go. And we'll leave it like that. It's kind of like a. It's gonna look. It looks kind of like a hyper saturated plaid. But in the end, it really is. I know it sounds so simple to be like all you gotta do is be consistent, but to be consistent, it takes dedication. It takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of trial and error. Right? It's not apparently clear on what steps you got to take to be a better person that allows you to be more consistent from your day to day. It's very difficult. It takes a lot of trial and error. And be consistent is just it's practice. I think one of the best things you can do to be consistent is just like set a goal and then try your best to achieve that goal. Like, like let's say that you want to walk for 10 days or walk for a month. Maybe one of the things that you need to do to start walking for a month is to start out small. Okay, walking for a month. Okay, so the first day I'm gonna walk outside. I'm just gonna put my walking shoes and go outside. Actually, don't even do that. I'm gonna put my walking shoes on the first day, and then the next day, the next day the challenge will be like I'm gonna put my walking shoes and leave the house and walk outside of the house. Okay, so now you've achieved something. You've moved closer towards your goal of just setting up a habit or trend of walking. Like maybe you're a little bit overweight and maybe you want to just get a little bit have a better healthier lifestyle, and that's what you want to do is you want to start walking. And to get towards that, you have to get outside and walk. But the troubles that you have are like a psychological barrier. Like you're like, I don't want to walk. So maybe what you got to do is you got to first put your shoes on, and then the next day go outside, and then the next day walk out like on your sidewalk, walk the distance of your sidewalk and go back inside. So put your shoes on, go outside, walk the distance of your sidewalk, and then the next day maybe just maybe you go out the sidewalk, you walk your driveway. Maybe you walk your driveway the next step, and eventually you're going to start moving the marker. Maybe I'll the next day after that, if you walk your driveway, you walk a block, you walk 100 feet or like 20 paces out of your driveway and so forth. So you're setting up a habit, setting up a strategy of being more consistent of your day to day. It's just it just takes a little bit of time. It's all about habit formation and being consistent over and over again. And you're going to stumble. You are going to stumble every day. Some days are going to be better than others. I remember when I was doing these live streams, I'd miss my day. I didn't miss it, but I definitely I was doing it at 3 a.m. in the morning, and it was atrocious. I was doing a 3 a.m. drawing in the morning, and I was like, oh gosh, this is awful. This is not what I want to do. I do not want to have to get up or have to do this after work and do a drawing at 3 a.m. in the morning. I do not want to do that, but I did it. And what it did was it told myself, it made like a psychological reminder. It's like, you know what, Matt, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Don't get yourself caught with your pants on your down on your shoes or around your ankles, surprised, right? Don't get caught, right? Don't ever get in that situation where you have to do a live stream at 3 a.m. in the morning. So make it a point to get the live stream done as quickly as you can, And so I've been trying my best to be ultra consistent and setting a kind of like a psychological reminder on when to do these live streams. So that's why I've been pretty good at getting my live streams in roughly around noon for me or close to noon. It takes a little while, and it's a little bit of there's a little bit of finagling happening here and there, but I've been able to get my live streams in at that time. It's taken 186 tries to get very consistent at it. Okay. So that's what it's taken me. For some individuals, it might take you only 20 tries. It might take you only 5 tries. And great, I am very happy for you. But for me, it's taken me a lot longer. And I'm not mad about that. I understand my limits. I understand that I'm a very slow learner. I've talked about this in detail in previous live streams that it takes me a long time to establish a habit, and it's very easy for me to break that habit. It's very easy for me to kind of like psychologically say, you know what, you've done enough. You've made it. You've done 180 of these. You've done 186 of these. Why don't you just quit? Why don't you take a break and go ahead and do and not, there's no harm, no foul. Just go ahead and not do anymore. You know, it's taken me 186 tries to be just kind of establish a solid habit of doing these over and over again. You know, and I'm adding some blue here. Oh, I love that. That's so cool. Just and I like to add a little bit. I'm gonna add like this color right here and see what that looks like. I'm gonna make it more saturated. There we go. Look at that. Woo-wee. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of that bright yellow on the top of this. There we go. Maybe in some like right here. Maybe add a little bit right here. But as I was saying, it took me 186 tries, to really dial in, to really dial it in. And again, these drawings are by no means like the best. They're not like great drawings by any means. They're cool. I enjoy them. The outcomes are nice. They're fun to do, but they're not going to be at the Louvre, right? They're not going to be at the Guggenheim. That'd be weird. I would have to know a lot of people. I would have to know some really high up people for these drawings to be in the Guggenheim. You know, I would have to know some people, but they're not going to be in those area in that I mean, they're not going to be there. They're just not, and that's fine. But I can. Oops, don't want that. The thing about what I can be proud of is that I've been stuck with it, and that's the hardest thing. To being consistent, it takes a lot of trial and error. It takes a lot of knowing of yourself. You got to know yourself to some extent. You gotta know how long it takes for you to do certain things. You got to know your abilities and your like sticking points, your friction points, and you just got to know it. For me, I know it takes a lot of work, and I just constantly have to what would you call it? I'm trying to move my up. There we go. I'm constantly having to readdress certain issues, certain problems, certain hiccup points because I'm like as an artist, I'm perpetually not like what's happening here. Okay, there we go. Um, as an artist, I'm always habitually like kind of lazy, you know. It's easy to be like this easy to be lazy, you know. And what's going on? It's like okay. And it's easy for me to kind of fall off track and so forth. So it's taken me, as I said, 186 tries to really get used to this process. and to really dial in a habit of drawing every day. Like I draw every day. Do like I do a doodle here and there, or I do a little sketch here. Nothing that like really makes me better as an artist. Like maybe this kind of keeps me fresh, kind of like just it just keeps me like fresh. It doesn't really do much as far as like, oh, this is really gonna maximize my skill set. No, it's just gonna like it just basically keeps my hand-eye coordination on point and keeps my ability to make marks better. But it doesn't really build my skill set. Um, and so I still draw every day. But what I don't do every day, what I wasn't doing every day was I wasn't doing live streams every day. And doing live streams every day is a whole new beast that I thought I'm going to tackle it. It's a mountain, man. I'm going to tackle this thing and I'm just going to really give it my all. And so that's what I chose to do. And oh man, did I bite off something? Did I bite off a beast that was like just like this is something that is like it's a something that I just not expect things to take as long as they take. Like because to set up a live stream and to put all the information in there, even if it's copying and pasting, oh gosh, I did not expect to do some of the things that I'm doing for this live stream, and I'm learning from it. It made me a better person. Not only that, but out of these live streams comes a an art piece. I make something each day. Like with when I draw every day in my sketchbook, I really nothing really comes from it. I'm not making anything that I can I can't really market that. I can't really I'm not trying to be like a salesman, although artists should be salesmen. But with like when I draw in a sketchbook, it's more like personal. But with these cactus drawings, I can sell these as prints or T-shirts. And again, I'm not trying to hawk any off on anyone. But as an artist, the initial goal, one of the goals is to kind of make some money off it. And I'm not trying to say, oh, I want to make money off it because I'm trying to like take money from people. But you know what? It's nice to be rewarded to some extent for your labor. And uh, a lot like in today's society, artists are kind of shamed for like, oh, you just want to. Why do you want to make money off your art? Well, man, it's you got to buy food. Like the goal is to make money. The reason why I want to make money off my art is because I want to make more of it. I want to make more money from my art because the more art I'm able to make, the happier I am. And whenever I'm at a job, I'm not able to make art. So why not be able to sell some of the artwork and actually be able to make more of it and be happier and then bring something that brings joy to people outside of just making art, because there is a little bit of like narcissism involved with it, you know. And then I don't know, there's like I think a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not I don't know. I think I might be burying myself a hole in this one. But I'm just trying to say that it'd be nice to make a living doing the art and have people appreciate it. That way I'm not having to do other jobs because I'm happier doing art, making art, you know? And every time I'm doing a job at work, it's time that I'm not able to make art. All right, so we're at 24 minutes, so we gotta knock this out. I think I have enough detail to do the special parts here. The I don't know what you call it, but they kind of do the smaller details here. So I got kind of like a nice rounded form here, and we're gonna that's two. We're gonna do 20. There you go. I think 20 pixels for this brush. Yeah, buddy. But yeah, all I'm trying to say, whatever you do, you know, being consistent and outworking, you can outwork people that are much better than you. and opportunities will arise for you. You know, it's not the best person that gets the most gigs. It's the person who is reliable. You know, I'm reliable at doing these live streams. I tell you what, I'm not reliable at is getting my commissions done. I'm struggling with them. I've been trying real hard to get them done. You know, I really do work on my commissions, um, but I can only do them in the morning. Now you could make the argument like, why you do if you're doing these if you're doing your commissions, why if you're okay, if you struggle with your commissions, why don't you work on your commissions and not doing a live stream? Like, I don't know, because I want to be able to do, I want to do some artwork for myself and have something for myself, as well as being able to do some commissions. And also, the commissions are very labor intensive, and they just take a lot longer. Like they don't take 40 minutes; they take 40 hours. And when you're working on a drawing of that nature, I'm gonna do something here. When you're working on a drawing of that nature, it with that takes that much time out of your day, you know, it's just very difficult. So that's why I do these drawings on the side to kind of have something that is a little bit less like less less intensive. So I've learned a few tricks by doing this. What I've done is that those dark lines that I've drawn are actually on a separate layer now, and now it's actually those dark lines are on the top layer, so they're on a separate layer, but they're also on the top. And now this layer that I'm drawing right now, this like slightly lighter green is on a layer below those lines. So that's how I've kind of improved the formula that I've been working with. Even though it's taken me actually I'm actually under 27 minutes. I'm doing really good with all said and done. Okay, what we're going to do is do this, and then we're going to do this right here. Probably zoom out. That'll be easier. Really get that area dark because I really like contrast, especially on the area that kind of show that there's this part right here is behind the cactus. I really love doing that kind of toothy contrast. There you go. So now what I'm doing is I'm adding a little bit of a gradient by doing a color test, or I'm trying to add a little bit of a dark tone gradient in this area here. Do the same here. Oops. But in the end, man, being consistent yields yields a lot in the outcome in the end. It's kind of like the tortoise and the rabbit, or the turtle and the rabbit, or the tortoise and the hare. That story where, like, yes, the rabbit is faster and is just faster at running, but the tortoise is patient and consistent and will win the race. And it's like a metaphor in life, really. You know, it's a metaphor in life, basically, like explaining that other people might be faster to the result, but if you're consistent and you have grit, and you take your time and you uh, water that metaphorical plant, you'll yield fruit, or yield a crop of something, you know. And so that's what I'm trying to explain in this live stream, is to kind of just emphasize that your consistent efforts over time are going to yield something. They may not yield what you expect too. Like with this 100 200 days of live streams. Like I started out only doing one and do 100, and the first 100 were actually like traditional. It was like traditional sketching, traditional drawing, and it wrecked me. It was like I just couldn't do the drawing that I wanted to do because I had to do these. I was doing these drawings in between my day and all my other work, and I was trying to finish these drawings as quickly as I could uh, after the fact because I couldn't finish them in the live stream because it was taking too long to do, and it just like psychologically just wore me out, and so yeah, it was rough. So I decided to convert them to digital drawings because I knew that I with a digital drawing I didn't have to like I didn't have to what would you say? How can I explain it? I didn't have to set up a still life. I didn't have to set up a camera to show the still life or set up a camera onto the easel, in which I didn't really have the room to set up a still life on the easel, and a lot of other factors and so forth. So we're almost done here. We're at 32 minutes. I think this is done. It's going to zoom out here. It's looking good. Now we're just going to add some thorns. Get some thorns here and call it a day. But when I do these live streams, they're like they're meant to be like a call to action for anyone that's watching. You know, they're meant for like, hey, do you want to be a better artist? Do you want to be a better writer? Do you want to be a better person at like just better at something that you want to do? And all I'm trying to say with these live streams is like all you got to do is just do, you know? That's all you got to do is just execute, you know? Just do the thing that you want to do. Make time for it, make a schedule and do it. That's all you have to do. Never mind what people are thinking of you. Focus on yourself and be better, you know, and there's nothing wrong if you don't want to do that, that's fine too. You know, it's not like, oh, Matt Pierson's telling me to go be an artist. No, I'm telling you to like if you enjoy just watching this and hearing what I have to say, great. But also, you know, if you want to if you're like I want to achieve like something, you know, whatever that might be, you know, go ahead and do that as well because that's fine too. And so that's what these live streams and that's what I have to talk about today is like just being consistent and it will bear some sort of fruit, you know. It doesn't it may not bear fruit now. It may not bear fruit in 20 days. It might take you 186 days like me, right? And I know that sounds like a lot, but your life is long, man. You got a long life. You got a lot of days, right? And you got a lot of time. As long as you're not wasting it on things, you know? And I have a weird relationship with like wasting time. You know, I look back at what I did when I was younger and I was like, oh my gosh, that was dumb. I blew a lot of time on the weekends going out, having a drink, you know, um, and or like just doing or watching too many shows on Netflix, and I think myself, oh my gosh, I have nothing to show for it except for like um well I only have anything to show for it. I have nothing to show for it other than like maybe more knowledge in with popular culture. Like I could, you know, I don't really have anything valuable to show from all those hours spent on watching um Bleach. Was it like the anime Bleach, you know, or or watching two seasons watching The Office. The Office is fun. I have fond memories of watching The Office, but I can't take those memories and do something with them. I guess maybe if I was like a YouTuber that did like reaction videos of like shows. Oh, you know, I guess I could say, oh, I did something with it. I made reaction videos of scenes from The Office. But for the most part, I'm doing too many thorns right here. I need to kind of dial it back. We're gonna taper off the thorns. But yeah, man, I'm just trying to say that being consistent will yield something and will make you probably make you either a stronger individual or make you a little bit more content and happy. You ever look in the week? You ever like that's what that self reflection kind of did to me when I would look at the week and look what I did when I was younger. Like, oh, I didn't do anything, and it was kind of like a positive feedback loop. I look what I did, and I just get really mad at myself. I'm like, ah, oh, I didn't get anything done, and then I'd get mad at myself, my hands, and I would, in response to getting mad at myself, I'd like sit down and like do the thing that I don't like doing as like a is it the word for it cathartic or as like a form of like therapy because I was mad like oh I played too many games and now I'm like stressed out and anxious and mad at myself. So what I do is I'd play more games and then like I'd feel mad at myself for playing more games and I just play more games again because it kind of like it was like therapy. But like in the end, at the end of the day, I didn't really have anything from all those hours of playing online. Like I guess like I could say, oh, I had a really cool. I played like Call of Duty. I had a really cool like diamond plated gun, like a gun, like a skin for my gun, or like cool looking armor. But I'm not like I'm able to wear that armor out loud. Like I can't take it. I can't take it out of the game, right? So at the end of the day, I really didn't have anything to show for all that work other than some neat little pixelated item, you know? So that's why I've been doing these live streams, and that's why, because it holds me kind of liable. It holds me accountable a little bit, right? It holds me accountable to my actions. So when I do these live streams, I kind of force myself to do an act that I don't always necessarily want to do. I'm not like, when I sign up to this, when I do these live streams, I'm not always like, yeah, I'm going to do a live stream. I'm going to nail it out of the park. Sometimes I'm like, wow, that was a bad live stream, right? And that's okay. But the end result though is like I come out with something like, so now I have a drawing. Now I have I've I've talked about an idea that I've kind of navigated, and because I've talked about it, I have a better understanding of it, and that in itself is kind of beneficial, right? So there's like two things happening at once. I'm doing this live stream. I'm coming out with a pretty interesting drawing. I'm getting a little bit faster at it. I'm also talking about certain ideas that people might find of value. So there's some things happening there. Well, anyways, this is it. I am done for the day. I got to get going. I hope you enjoyed this live stream. I hope you enjoyed the drawing process. I hope you enjoyed some of the thoughts that I was talking about. All I got to say is you don't have to be great at what you do. You just got to be consistent. What was it? There was Steve Martin said, become so good that no one can ignore you. Right. Anyways, I got to get going. I hope you have a wonderful day. If you enjoyed this live stream, please subscribe. I also do live artist interviews. So I have artist interviews lined up all the way through October where I talk to artists and talk about how they navigate life and art and talk about their techniques, about what kind of work they're working on, talk about their ideas, all kinds of stuff in between. I hope you enjoyed this live stream, and thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful day. This is Pierson. Cheers.